Thor's pretty cool. I like the design of some of his SIGs, so, you know, I don't want to waste any time. Let's go. Let's look at his SIGs. I mean, he's got some cool skins too. I'm gonna rock this for the video right now, but, you know, you can do whatever you want. His stats seem pretty good. I think running either base or running defense is probably the way to go. I don't see speed as a viable option just for the sake that it takes away dex. You don't really want to have 3 dex. You don't really want to have 3 of any stat. So, you know, let's take a look at his hammer first and foremost. So the first sig I want to talk about is this hammer N sig, which is pretty cool. I'll take away hitboxes just for a sec. It's got this little lightning bolt. It's kind of a mix of Jalla's sword N sig and Cross's blaster's N sig. Those are the most obvious 2 comparisons. The thing is, it seems kind of risky to me if you just tap it. There's kind of a lot of minimum active frames, so, you know, Koji, if I'm not going to hit him right here, he has ample time to punish me, if you get what I'm saying. Because it doesn't hit grounded opponents. So there's that. That's kind of a drawback to this sig, although I do think it's better than that Cross Blaster's N sig, which also has the property of, you know, holding it and it's this upward hitbox, because for one, well, it's hammer, right? So guns, they can cover this vertical area right where this would hit with a jump nair, or they could jump recovery. But hammer's a lot slower in that area, you know, you have jump dare as your pretty much your fastest option there. But it also combos, true combos out of downlight for, I mean, you saw right there, these aren't exactly 1-to-1 strength to defense ratios, but I mean, look at that damage. That's insane. It does a ton of damage. It kills, it knocks out. You know, maybe I was a little slow there, but if you practice enough, you should get that true every single time. As long as you're stacked with downlight, that's a true combo, which, I mean, otherwise you'd have to go for this, which less damage, less flashy, and I haven't looked at the exact numbers, but it looks to be less force as well. So that's a really good option for Thor to have. But either way, I want to get through this a little quickly. I have a plane to catch. So let's look at hammer side sig. I think this is actually pretty strong. You know, once you have the initial dash, you actually go pretty fast. And it's not that laggy either. Like, you can see how fast I can act out of this. Even if I whiff, it's not like the end of the world. I'm not stuck in their active frames for a while. So it feels to me like something that can, you know, can net you a bunch of KOs. Nice, good knockouts. Oh, it also has this hitbox. So as you see, the hitbox is pretty low to the ground, which means that, oh, if I stare Koji, he's probably gonna die, right? No, he's okay. It can actually hit people on the edge right there. So, you know, that's always good to have. That's pretty good. It's karma for Koji because his bow down sig does that all the time. You know, overall, I think it's a really strong sig. It's good for his kit, you know, good for Thor. Not in here with any weak sigs. Well, maybe this one's a little weak, but I do think this is pretty strong. If you hold it, you also move forward a little bit. You maintain some of your momentum, so if you dash, you go pretty fast. If you don't, it's just how it works. Now let's talk about his hammer down sig. This is probably his best hammer sig in my opinion. You know, as solid as this is, I mean, this sig right here is so good. The one drawback is that it doesn't hit grounded. So as you can see right here, I'm just floating above Koji's head. But when it does hit, I mean, boy, is it strong. First off, you can see it has a bunch of active frames. This hammer is spinning all the way. You can even see it hits on the way back. So when I bring it back to me, it has those hitboxes by the lightning, which is, you know, it's always nice to have. You saw right there the active frames. I mean, the hitboxes are huge. When he throws it out, it's super fast. It's got a lot of range. Like, look at that range. Look at that range. Even vertical range as well as horizontal range is really good. I mean, if you look at this sig and you're telling me this is not a good sig, then I don't know what to tell you. That hit him on the way back. It controls so much space. Like when you're playing against Thor, you're at kill percent, he's got hammer. Like you don't want to jump because he can just do that and you just die. Another thing that I think is a nice little positive to have the sig that's kind of understated is the fact that you can get a chase dodge after it, even though it seems to me like it's a projectile, but you still can get a chase dodge after it, which, you know, Scythe and sig doesn't give you that, so there's always that. I don't know what else to say about this. I mean, crazy range, crazy power, I mean, they gotta give Thor a sig where his hammer comes back to him, right? And I'm happy it's this one. I think the design is pretty cool. It might need a little bit of, you know, of tuning back, because the hitbox is kind of crazy. Something to note there is you just saw, so when you use it, you actually jump up a little bit on this cloud and then send it out. It's the reason why it doesn't hit grounded. So when you're GCing it, just like take note of that you actually jump up a little bit. That's why it whiffed on the Koji, like in that position over there. Alright, enough about the hammer. You get what I'm saying here. N-Sig, a little meh, but once you land it, you know, it's alright. It can true combo out of downlight. Side Sig just seems pretty solid, and the down Sig is the crowning jewel of this kit. Pretty cool. Alright, let's jump into the orb, because, you know, I'm an orb player, at least right now. Oh, look at that skin. Ooh. I think orb sigs matter a lot because the weapon isn't necessarily the best with killing. Let's get you down. So the sigs matter a lot. Side sig's pretty good. I think this is overall a really solid sig. I think it's better than Dusk, his orb side sig. It's got that nice little second hit. It's got some nice hitbox coverage, like you can see. That's a pretty good hitbox right there. Look at that face. Which is always good to have, you know, you want that coverage. The thing is, it has a little bit of startup. Like, it's hard to notice in-game because the startup isn't really animated as much. It's sort of like Mordek's Gauntlet down sig. So if I press the button, it does take a little while. But if you hold it down, the reason why it takes a while is because you see he has to wind up first and then he throws it. So if you charge it up a little bit, like let's say you're trying to react to someone, right? Reacting and punishing with this sig might not be the easiest because it does have that startup. Like here, let's set an example right here. Let's make this Koji. Okay, well not like that. Okay, reacting to punish this, as you can see, it's pretty difficult. I mean, there I just outranged him, but it's not the easiest. But if you hold it down a little bit, let's say you're preparing, like I know this Koji's gonna endlight, then I can react to it. It comes out pretty much immediately once you wind up a little bit and you release. So that's just something to note on that sig. I think it's a good sig. I think it's a especially good sig for orb because it's got some power behind it. To me, it seems just like a better version of Jiro's sword side sig. If you guys know that sig, I think it's one of the worst sigs in the whole game, just because the risk reward is kind of out of whack, in a bad way. But this one, it's a little risky. You know, you can recover pretty fast after using it, after whiffing, which is good. It's got some nice coverage, so it's kind of hard to challenge, especially horizontally. I think it's a good sig. That's all I gotta say about that one. The orb down sig, to me, is kind of meh. At least on first impressions. It seems to be like the hammer end sig of the kit. Maybe it has some more niche uses, but it's this move right here, where you sort of leap down with a bolt and then you go on the ground. The thing that kind of brings it down, in my opinion, is the fact that you always have this ground explosion. Like, you can't control whether or not you have it. You can control the length, like you can charge it up. If you charge up this sig, it's not charging the initial bolt, it's charging the bolt once you hit the ground. You can see you can actually like dip a little bit below the stage, fake someone out like that. Although it does hit up, so maybe that's not what you're trying to do when you're going off stage. Yeah, it seems to me like kind of risky for what it is, for what the reward is. Risk reward might be a little skewed out of its favor, but you know, maybe I can easily be proven wrong. Again, this is day 1 of his release. What's nice is your hurtbox does have some good movement, so you can maybe jump over someone's hitbox and then punish them. You know, maybe that's a good use for it. And you can also catch people on the way down, so if I have Koji jump here, I sort of caught him with the lightning bolt on the way down. So if someone's jumping, you know, you can maybe dodge their attack, you can maybe catch them going down. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I'm not getting arrested. But that's all I sort of have to say about the down sig. It doesn't like jump out to me like some of the other sigs that I've, you know, sort of gone more crazy about, but maybe it does have some niche uses. The sig that I really think is maybe his best sig, I mean, at least probably just as good as his hammer down sig, is this orb end sig, which funnily enough also doesn't hit grounded. Like his 2 best sigs don't hit grounded, but this sig is crazy good, like crazy good. It's, well, first off, before I even say anything, it's very fun. you can just become a lightning bolt and leap around. You know, I'll take away the hitboxes for now so you guys can see the more animated version of it, but I mean, this SIG is so strong in my opinion. Again, maybe his best SIG. The hurtbox movement is so fast. Like, punishing this SIG is going to be so hard because you leap off really fast and then you go pretty high. Like, I mean, let's say Koji's got this sword, he can jump near me, right? But even so, I'm like zooming. And then I can jump out of it pretty quickly, evade. It's very hard to punish. It's also got a giant hitbox. Let me turn it back on so you can see. I mean, look at that. That's a dangerous area to be in. Very good. It hits high. It kills off the top, which killing off the top is very, very good for the reason of consistency. Like, a sidelight Sarah, for example, on Orb will kill much, much later if you hit it right here than if you hit it right here. But an N-Sig will always kill off the top. Like, the distance from the ground to the top, you know, it's always the same, unless, of course, you GC it or something like that. And that's another thing you can do with this SIG. You can GC to kill off the top. A lot of Orb stuff, you know, hits upward. Maybe you're comboing up. Maybe you're hitting with recovery or something, and then you're like a ba-boom, and then you don't miss because you're good at the game, and you're not me. And then you also, I don't even know what I'm doing at this point. Anyway, really good SIG. You can use it to recover, like you saw right there. Like, let's say you're down here, use your recovery, all you have is dodge. Okay, well, let's take two. You have recover, you use your recovery, you don't have dodge. Oh, dodge! Oh, I won't make it, okay? But if you have the N-Sig and good timing, ba-boom, you've made it back. Or even if you can make it back with dodge, it's always good to challenge with the hitbox. Look at the priority there. That's insane priority. I mean, how are they gonna punish that? Tell me how they're gonna punish that. I guess you can interrupt it, but you know, very good SIG. Reminds me of like a bow neutralite. If a bow neutralite was like big and launched you up, because it's got that lightning effect. It's got that nice little blue outline. It's pretty cool. I think similar to what I said about the hammer neutral SIG is that jumping in this diagonal area against Thor's orb is going to be very scary just for the fact that he has this. The main downside, I think, is that it doesn't hit right above him. Like, it only hits at this diagonal compared to something like Fate's, which hits like right above her. So that's, you know, something to note. You sort of have to position diagonally for this one. But its hitbox is still huge. Like, I don't know. I still think this SIG is really strong. I don't think it's as strong as the Fate N-Sig personally. But that's not to take away from it. I think his orb kit is definitely better than Dusk's, like without question, at least in my opinion. You know, this side SIG is a better version of Dusk's side SIG. This down SIG, well, they're probably comparable. But this N SIG is easily better than Dusk's N SIG. The hurtbox movement is crazy. The angle is real nice. And, I mean, you turn into a lightning bolt. How are you going to complain about turning into a lightning bolt? That's all I'm saying. Alright, well, we went over the SIGs. I did want to talk about one other thing about Thor, which is his addition and what it actually means for Brawlhalla. And what I'm trying to say with that is, like, okay, well, if they can add Thor, what's stopping them from adding anything from Norse mythology other than Thor? You know, of course I'm talking about Loki. Everyone loves Loki. I'm thinking, here's my prediction, okay? I'm thinking Loki's gonna be added sometime in the near future with Katar's and Scythe. I think he's gonna have like low defense, he's gonna have high speed, maybe like 4 defense, 7 speed, something like that. Katar's Scythe, he's gonna be all tricky, he's gonna be all wisecracky. You know what I'm saying. But the sky's the limit, right? They can add Odin, they can, okay, well I was gonna say Kratos, but that doesn't really apply. But maybe, you know, maybe. If Rayman can be added, maybe Kratos, who knows. I want to know your guys' predictions. If you guys are really into Norse mythology, I'm a lot more of a Greek mythology kind of person, but of course I know about Odin, I know about Loki, those are the goons. Let me know your character predictions or what you'd like to see, weapons or stats. You can make up your own weapon, I don't care. You can make him have a lightning bolt, and then wish that Thor's never released. I think personally, Thor... They thought about Thor, they're like, alright, they gotta make him Axe Hammer, of course, because that just makes sense. But Axe Hammer is Taros. And so when they released Scythe, they're like, oh man, we can't make Thor hammer and Scythe. That doesn't make sense. So they waited for Orb. They waited for Thorb. They probably thought that was cute. You know, I think that's kind of cute. Whatever. I'm rambling on at this point. All I want to say is, let me know your predictions. I think if you're not really a fan of Dusk or Fate, but you still are interested in Orb, you should definitely give Thor a try. He's a lot of fun. His SIGs really feel powerful. They kind of feel like a god. I think BMG did a really nice job with designing these. They definitely they definitely feel like they've got power behind them, which is, you know, not necessarily the easiest thing to capture, but a lot of his animations, the way his moves interact, they definitely feel powerful. So again, I think this is a really nice character design. I think some of his SIGs are really strong, like this one and that Orb End SIG I was gushing about. So, you know, let me know. I'm not gonna play him. I'm not a hammer guy. Hammer doesn't really fit me that well. I think hammer's a weapon that controls a lot of space with big hitboxes like this sidelight or this nair, maybe the sair, and then you get a hard read with a kill. Not necessarily a hard read, but you get a read with jumping in with downlight. You get the sair, you kill him real early, or you kill him with the end sig because you're Thor and you're really happy about yourself, and I'm really happy about myself because they added Korean into the game, and I requested that in the last video. Not saying I had anything to do with it, because I definitely didn't, but I'm just happy. Bye bye.